Hello everyone and welcome to the final video in my three-part series about deck building for the Heirs of Numenor expansion for the Lord of the Rings living card game. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the third scenario, the Siege of Cair Andros. This is another nasty combat-oriented quest, a really difficult, tough quest. So difficult in fact that I actually quit the game for 3 months the first time I came up against this one. So that says a lot about how this quest makes you feel when you first encounter it. This quest is also really oriented towards using single sphere decks, particularly using tactics heroes, because there are a couple of cards that punish you if you're running stuff that isn't tactics or which is out of sphere. So with that in mind, we're going to be using a deck that's very similar to the one we made for Into Ithilien, which is the second quest, so do check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. So this deck's mono tactics, and it's oriented towards battle and siege questing, so there's barely any willpower in the deck at all. We're focusing on attack power and defense values. Before we go into the heroes, we need to say something about Cair Andros, the scenario itself. So the way this quest works is that you have 5 stages in the quest deck, and you start the game with 3 battleground locations in the staging area. And each time you explore one of those locations, you get to remove a certain stage from the quest deck. So by clearing those, you make the game shorter and much easier for yourself. But the problem is that there are various effects that do damage to those battlegrounds, and once they get damage equal to their quest points, they're removed from the game, so you have to try to save them and clear them before that happens. So that means we need to try to clear them as quickly as possible. But the one we need to focus on in particular is the banks, which only needs 3 quest points. And the reason we want to clear that one is because that's the location that removes quest card 2A and 2B. Which is a willpower quest, and because we have barely any willpower in the deck, we're almost guaranteed to lose if we have to go up against 2B. So that's why I've called the deck Save the Banks or Reset, because if we don't save the banks, what we're going to do is table flip, reset the game, and try again. Okay, we won't table flip, but we'll just have another attempt. So let's have a look at the heroes. We've got heroes that we've used in the previous 2 videos. Beregond, he's going to be great in this quest because he can defend for 4. And he's great at siege questing as well. Boromir, he's going to be questing for both battle and siege if we need to do any battle questing. And we can use his action to ready him and defend enemies as they're revealed by the encounter deck. And then we've got Thalin again. He's going to battle and siege quest for 2. We're also going to take a lot of advantage of his damage dealing ability. There are tons of enemies in this scenario, so the damage that he deals to them is really going to stack up for us. Looking at the allies, very similar to the deck that I use for Into Ithilien. One major change is that I've brought in 3 copies of Defender of Ramas, so that's because he can defend for 4, which means he's going to siege quest for 4. And also because we need to take control of the early game again, just like the previous 2 scenarios. So in our opening hand we're going to be looking for either a copy of him or a Winged Guardian, because they're the ones that can quest for 4 on the first turn. We're guaranteed to be able to play them because we've got 3 tactics heroes, so we really want to see one of those to make sure that we don't fail the quest on the first round. Then we've got the Eagles of the Misty Mountains again, coupled with the Vassal of the Windlord. With the Winged Guardians, those eagles might get built up a little bit more. I'm also running 3 copies of Support of the Eagles here, so we can use that to take advantage of the Winged Guardians' defense. Either on Beregond or Boromir to either quest for more or make sure that we don't die to an enemy attack. And I've also got 3 copies of The Eagles Are Coming. Again, that can sometimes net you 1 or 2 cards, sometimes gets you nothing, but definitely worth 3 copies I think when we've got 9 eagles in the deck. Then we've got Envoy of Pelargir. Again, this is effectively a 1-cost ally, a chump blocker here. We've got 2 Gondor heroes and a noble hero. Boromir's a noble, so we can play her and give a resource back to either of those 2. Then 3 Gondorian Spearman again. He's going to be really useful for killing enemies before their shadow cards are revealed. He can do that final damage that they need to die. And we've got 3 copies of Veteran Axehand. Again, he can battle quest for 2, siege quest for 1, and maybe help us to kill things. He can also hold a copy of Dwarrowdelf Axe if we happen to draw it. Then attachments. You'll notice I've got quite a lot of weapons here. 2 copies of Blade of Gondolin, 3 Dagger of Westerness, 1 Dwarrowdelf Axe, and 3 copies of Spear of the Citadel. So you might be thinking, where's Bofur? Why don't we have Bofur to fish some of these out? I think you could include him if you want to, but the problem with him is that he doesn't have any defense, And most of the questing that you need to do in Siege of Cair Andros is siege questing. So he's a turn's worth of resources. He's going to get you one weapon a turn if you're lucky, but really I'd rather draw something else than Beaufort. So we've got enough weapons in here to almost guarantee that we do see one over the course of the game. And that's good because we're running 3 copies of Goblin Cleaver here. There are actually a lot of orcs in this scenario, so we can do 3 damage to them, which combined with Thalin's ability and the Gondorian Spearman or Spear of the Citadel can kill many of them outright. And we've also got 3 copies of Foehammer, so because we've got Boromir, who's going to be used defensively, we can put the Dagger of Westerness onto him to give him 4 attack or maybe 5 if the enemy's got an engagement cost higher than our threat. And we can use Foehammer to draw some cards. I've got 2 copies of Citadel Plate in here, so I think if you've got access to Gondorian Shield, I would definitely swap that in for these Citadel Plates and this 1 copy of Swift Strike that I've got down here. But because we're using a limited card pool, I've tried to avoid the Gondorian Shield, but it definitely makes this quest a lot easier if you've got it, so I would certainly swap that out. Here we can play the Citadel Plate onto Beregond for 2, because his ability lowers the cost to play armor on him by 2. And that can be useful because there's some archery in this scenario. There can also be some really big enemy attacks sometimes. There are shadow effects that chain, so it might say this enemy gets +1 attack, deal it another shadow card. And that can go on and on sometimes, so they can end up with +5 attack, maybe something like that. So that can help him to survive some of those defenses. You could even put a copy of that onto Boromir if you happen to draw the second one. And then I mentioned earlier I've got 3 copies of Support of the Eagles. This is really nice here because we're going to be questing for battle and siege, but also this is good on Boromir to help him defend repeatedly with possibly 6 defense if you can use the Support of the Eagles on a Winged Guardian. Or maybe he could attack for 5 or 6 with Eagles of the Misty Mountains or a Vassal of the Windlord. Then in the events we've got 3 copies of Behind Strong Walls again to ready Beregond or Boromir. We probably wouldn't use that on Boromir, but we could do if we needed him to get the +1 defense. That can also be used on Defender of Ramas, interestingly, so you could use that on the ally if you want to keep him around. 2 copies of Feint to stop some enemy attacks, 3 Foehammers for draw, 3 Goblin Cleavers to kill enemies, 1 copy of Swift Strike. I think this is okay here. It costs 2, so it's expensive, but because we've got a lot of damage dealing abilities, we could use that to kill something after we declare a defender. It's not an essential card, that's why it's a one-off. Again, I would replace that with Gondorian Shield if you've got access to it. And 3 copies of the Eagles are coming for a little bit of draw. So that's the deck. What we'll do now is jump into the final playthrough so you can see how it works. Okay, so I've loaded up the deck in Octagon, got my opening hand. What you want to be looking for in your opening hand with this deck is either a Winged Guardian or a Defender of Ramas. And I've actually got 2 Winged Guardians here, so I'm going to keep this hand and we'll see how it goes. So let's have a look at the quest card, the Defense. So setup, add the approach, the citadel and the banks to the staging area, shuffle the encounter deck. So those are those locations I was talking about earlier. I'll just reorder them slightly so they're in descending threat order. So they're all really similar. They have similar text. So this one, the Citadel. If the Citadel has 11 or more damage, remove it from the game. Do not collect its victory points. Response. After the Citadel leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 4 from the quest deck if able. So what we need to do is try to travel to these as quickly as possible and explore them so that we can remove as many quest stages as possible. And again, the one we're going to try and focus on is the banks, because that's the one that removes stage 2, which is a willpower quest, so we really want to get rid of that one. So let's flip over the defense and see what it says. Okay, so it's Siege, characters quest using defense instead of willpower. And players must deal damage from undefended attacks to the lowest threat battleground location in play. If there are no battleground locations in play, immediately advance to the next stage. So we don't want to do that in the early game, but in the late game we could potentially deliberately take undefended attacks so that we don't lose a hero and put them onto one of these locations which have more quest points on them. So let's start the first turn and see how we go. Here we go. So another Winged Guardian, so that's good. So we're definitely set up for some hardcore siege questing here. So I'm going to pay 2 for that one. And then on the first turn, I'm just going to quest all in with everyone. So that brings me to 12. because we don't want to fail at this. We don't want to progress here either, by the way. We just want to sit at 1B and try to clear out as many of these as possible. But for now, we're just trying to clear out the banks. So there's 6 threat in the staging area, and we'll reveal 1 card. Okay, Southron Mercenaries, that adds 2. So we get 4 progress. And then in the travel phase, I'm going to travel to the banks, which is the one you want to go to always first. And then we've got these mercenaries in the staging area. They're archery 1, and I could bring them down, but because I can't kill them, I'm going to leave them in there for now, I think. So we'll have 7 threat in there. And the reason I'm doing that is because next turn I can play 2 more Winged Guardians if I need to, and I'll be able to quest through pretty much anything the encounter deck throws at us and get rid of the banks. So let's go to the next turn. Okay, so I'm definitely going to play 1 more of these guys. 1, 2. And I think rather than play the other one, I'm going to try to get some attack power down, just in case we reveal an enemy. So I'll play the dagger onto Boromir, and then I'll stay my hand for now. We could play Eagles of the Misty Mountains next turn, possibly. So we're going to quest with these guys for 8. I'll quest with Thalin as well. They should have a wound, by the way. Don't let me forget that. So that's 10. And I think we want to clear the banks, definitely. So we'll quest for 14. And we'll reveal 1. Okay, or Arbalesters, so we get another 2. So we're getting 5 progress. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've cleared the banks. That's critical. That's good. So we'll travel to the approach. Go there. And I noticed they've got archery X, so I should have dealt an archery at last turn. So I'll put that onto Thalin. And now I've got these 2 in the staging area. I think I'm going to take down the Arbalesters here. And then I've got archery 2. So I'll do 1 to Thalin and maybe 1 to... Yeah, I'll do another one to Thalin. So he's maxed out now. Then Shadow card. I'll defend it with Boromir. Look at it. Okay, nothing, so it doesn't do any damage. And then I'll ready Boromir for 1. And I'm going to tap them to 3, 4, 5, because they have a higher engagement cost than my threat. Now they should have 1 damage from Thalin again. So they're going to take 1, and they're going to take 1, 2, 3 from Boromir's attack. 5 against 2 defense. So now we refresh. Okay, Citadel play. I think here I'm going to play the Eagles of the Misty Mountains because we need to soak up some archery damage from these 2 enemies and hopefully kill them off. And then quest we want to do quite a lot again, so we're going to do 8, 9, 10. What are we against? 5. So I think we could probably do 1 more. So we'll do Beregond as well. So we're doing 12, 14, and that should be enough to clear out the approach. Reveal 1. Okay, Scourge of Mordor. When revealed, each player discards the top card of his deck. Until the end of the phase, raise the total threat in the staging area by X, where X is the total cost of all cards discarded by this effect. So we're just discarding 1. Okay, 1 threat. Great. So that takes us up to 6, so we're going to get 8 progress. So that will put 7 on there and 1 on the defense. So we cleared that one as well. So now we can get rid of stage 3 from the quest deck when we get there. Combat phase, we got 2 archery to deal. I think I'm going to engage this one now as well. Optionally engage that one. So we've got 2 defenses to do and 2 archery to deal out. So I'm going to put 1 on Beregond, and I think I'm going to kill off a Winged Guardian because I can play another one next turn. I'm tempted to anyway. Maybe I won't do that. I'll put 1 onto the Eagles. And then I'll defend the Southron Mercenaries with the Eagles of the Misty Mountains. +1, deal out another shadow card. So they're now 4. It's going to attack again after this attack. That's a bit annoying. So he's going to take 2 wounds. So I need to do another defense, which is going to be Boromir. Deal 2 damage to the banks if it's in play, otherwise they get +2 attack. So they're going to do 3 wounds to Boromir now. That's not nice, because we've cleared the banks. Then this one is coming in for 1. I'm just going to leave this one undefended, and we can put that damage onto the Citadel. 2 damage to the banks if it's in play, otherwise attacking enemy gets +2 attack. So we'll do 3 damage to the Citadel. I'm going to ready Boromir for 1, and I will attack the Mercenaries for 3, 4, 5, because of their 35 engagement cost and my threat's 34. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 wounds and kill them. And then I'll ready him again, and I'll attack the Arbalesters and kill them off. So that's gotten rid of all that stuff. Okay, so refresh. Envoy of Pelagear, not a bad card to draw, I guess. We'll pay 2 for her and put her down, and we'll give a resource to Beragond, and then we'll pay 2 for that Winged Guardian. I think I should have travelled there last turn, actually. I forgot to do that. Don't forget to do that if you do play this quest. A bit of a silly mistake, really. So because of that, there's only 3 in there. I don't really want to progress right now, so I'm just going to quest for 4, and if my threat goes up, hey-ho. Reveal 1 card. Okay, when revealed, each character gets -2 attack and -2 defense until the end of the round, so I got lucky there, really. I'm only questing for 2 now, so my threat's only going up by 1. So we'll travel to the Citadel, make that active, and there's nothing else to do, so we'll refresh. Easy turn. Okay, we'll pay 1 for a Vassal of the Windlord. We've got tons of stuff on the table. This is really, really nice. 1, 2. I think I'm going to play Citadel Plate here because we don't need many more allies right now. So let's beef up Beragond in case we need to tank something nasty. And then I think we want to try to quest carefully here. I'd rather clear out the Citadel and not go through the defense. So I want to clear the Citadel before I clear that one. So I'm going to quest for 12. Because that requires 11, and we need 2 turns to clear this one. So 1 card. Okay, Orc Arsonist, so we've got 3, so we get 9 progress. That's fine. And he's going to get a wound from Thalin. Then he'll engage, and when he engages a player, deal 1 shadow card to each enemy engaged with that player. So he's going to get 1, and then he's going to get another 1. So here, I think I'm going to defend this one with Beragond for 4. That has no shadow effect. Deal 2 damage to the Citadel if it is in play. It is in play, so that'll take 2 damage, but no damage to Beragond, luckily. And then we'll just attack him back with Boromir, and that will be enough to kill him because Boromir's attacking for 4. He's got 2 defense, so he takes 2 wounds, and he dies. So now we'll refresh. Okay, here I like the look of playing a Gondorian Spearman. He can do a damage to an enemy when he defends. There's nothing in the staging area, and I only need 2 progress on there. So I'm going to quest here. I think I need to quest with just 1 Winged Guardian. It's a bit tricky. The reason I'm doing this is because if I overquest and happen to complete the defense, we'll progress to the next stage before the Citadel is explored. So I really want to explore that one before completing the defense. So reveal 1 card. Okay, Lieutenant of Mordor, 2 threats, exactly what we need. But we have to resolve the when revealed effect of the topmost treachery in the encounter discard pile if able, and that effect cannot be cancelled. So let's see what it is. Hopefully not the threat raising one. Okay, it's that one. Each player chooses 1 sphere of influence. Each character a player controls that does not belong to a chosen sphere takes 3 damage. So that's only going to kill our Envoy of Pelagear. Not a big deal. So we get 2 progress, and that's going to clear the Citadel. It's exactly what I wanted to do. So now we're going to skip to stage 5. So I'm going to put all these over there because they're out of the quest deck. And we'll go to 5A, the last battle. And that has no active text on it, so we'll flip that one over. Okay, so Siege Quest. When revealed, reveal 1 card per player from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. Here we go. Orc War Camp. Not too bad at all. If the players have collected 4 or more victory points, which we have, we've got 6 there. The last battle gains battle and loses siege. If the players defeat this stage, they've won the game. So really we just need to super quest now with battle as much as we possibly can. So we're going to travel to the Orc War Camp, and then we have to take on the Lieutenant of Mordor. And allies cannot defend against him, so I'm going to use Beragond. And there's nothing else I can do, so reveal his shadow card. +1 attack, +3 if it has the Harad trait. It does not. So that's going to take him to 6. We're defending for 4, so he's going to take 2 wounds. And I think we just want to pile on this guy now, so we'll do 3, 4, because he has Dagger of Westerness. 5, 6, 7, 8. So that'll kill the Lieutenant of Mordor. And now we'll refresh. For hopefully one of the final turns. Okay, 11 Eagles are coming. I may as well play it. See if we get something. Yep, an Eagles of the Misty Mountains. I'll take that. So shuffle that one up. And here we're doing a battle quest, so really I just want to get down attack power. I think we'll play the veteran axe hand as well. So we've got tons of allies this game. Nothing else to do, so we'll just quest all in as much as we can for attack power, I think, and keep a few defenders back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14 because he has the dagger, 15, 16. And we'll reveal one card, an Orc Arsonist, so that's 3 threats, so we get 13, 2 on there, and 11 on the main quest. There we go. So that clears off the Orc War Camp. And then we're going to optionally engage the Orc Arsonist, and he gets a shadow card when he engages, and then he gets 1 at the start of the combat phase as well. Defend with Beregond. If he dies here, doesn't really matter. Deal the attacking enemy an additional shadow card for each player in the game. So we're going to do that. That's blank. And last card. Attacking enemy gets +1 attack, deal it another shadow card. So he is now 4. And another shadow card. +2. So he's gone up to 6. So Beregond's going to take 2 wounds. Nasty, but he's still alive because he's got the Citadel plate. He's actually got another 3 health. So that'll go away. And he should have a wound from Thalin. I just realised. I always forget that. Be careful not to forget that when you play this. So I'm going to ready Boromir for 1. I'm just going to smash into pieces. Attack for 4. Do 2 damage and kill him. Now refresh. Okay, Goblin Cleaver. Nothing to do except battle quest as much as possible. So we'll use 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14. I don't think there's anything that could stop us now, but we'll find out very soon. Here we go. Battering Ram, Doom 2. When revealed, if the active location is a battleground, deal 3 damage to it. So there isn't an active location. So that's only 2 in there. So we're going to get 12 progress, which is more than enough to complete it. So I'm not going to put it all on there. So there we go. A successful playthrough of Cair Andros. It doesn't always go that well, I have to say. There's a lot of games that I've played where I've been completely destroyed by this. But that illustrates what you're trying to achieve with the deck. I think if you happen to have a game where you don't see as many allies as I did in this one, it's going to be very difficult. So try to mulligan for an opening hand with at least 2 or 3 allies, preferably the Winged Guardians or the Defenders of Ramas. And things should go well for you if you happen to clear the banks. If you don't clear the banks, you have to reset. If you have to face stage 4 or stage 3, you can do that with this deck. Stage 3 is a battle quest, so it's not a huge problem if you have to face it. Stage 4 is a siege quest. We've got tons of defense, so that's pretty easy for us. But overall, this is the best deck that I've been able to find with the card pool that I've used to make these decks. So I hope you've enjoyed these videos overall. Do let me know if you found them helpful, and I can always make more for other quests. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one.